Before we get started here, do me a favor. Wherever you got this podcast, make sure you subscribe, give us a rating, and if you have time and you like what you're hearing, make sure you write a review. It really helps us get the word out so we can have a lot more people coming to the party. Hey everybody, I'm St. Paul Peterson. Prince gave me that nickname, and I've been lucky enough to tour with people like the Steve Miller Band, Kenny Loggins, Peter Frampton, Donny Osmond, to name a few. And when I'm not playing music, I love to run. And this is a podcast about how we stay healthy on the road, physically, mentally, and with our families. Welcome to Music on the Run. Hey everybody, St. Paul here. Welcome to episode 19 of Music on the Run, the 7th interview from the Peterson family basement.
Yay!
Yeah, a lot of notes, a lot of growing up has been done within this household. And it's an incredibly special podcast today. There are musical families that you will recognize. You've heard of them, the Marsalises, the Osmonds, the Wootons, the Nevilles. My next guests are a family that were inducted into the Minnesota Hall of Fame last year, have played music as a family since they were born, and individually they've been incredibly successful in life and the music business. Now hang tight with me, fam. Linda is a singer-songwriter who was the first Peterson to have a record deal with RCA. We'll talk about that a little later. Willard is an incredible bass player who's played with everyone from Ben Sidran to Bob Dylan, and spent 25 years in the Steve Miller Band. Patty has won Best Female Vocalist at the Minnesota Music Awards 7 times. She's a radio personality and an inspirational speaker.
Yeah. Try.
Ricky is a producer, keyboardist, and vocalist who's played with everyone from Prince to David Sanborn, and most recently with Fleetwood Mac. Jason is Linda's son, who's a gifted saxophonist, keyboardist, vocalist who's worked most recently with Michael Bolton. Please welcome my family, the Peterson family. Woo! Man,
That was well done.
how to you know what's impossible is to summarize you guys in less than an hour and a half. That's what's good.
You did really well. Really well done. Yeah, I agree.
You really got that together, brother. That's
Well,
pretty good.
I need to do my research for everybody,
So cool.
because everybody's got such an incredibly beautiful career individually, but we're here to talk about the fam today.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So here we are. Oh, I forgot. I sit in the middle between. Oh, I'm the baby, but I guess I come before you.
Yeah.
You're just like a little brother to me, though. So that's where you fit in.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is the first live interview for Music on the Run since COVID hit in March. We've done so many different Zoom meetings, and we're doing this safely. Want to let you know the crew is back there. Thank you. It's nice to see you guys again. They're all masked up and ready to go. And
They look better with their masks.
they do. Thank God.
At least we know when they're smiling because their eyes smile.
Right.
Masquerade ball every day.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we had a little concert last night.
Yes, we did.
Oh,
We
it
were
was
out at
fun.
Bruner's last night, and we had a packed house in the drive-in theater. It was like a drive-in. So.
It was, yeah. So
Yeah.
they had a tent when they had some tables in there that was distant from each other. It was really, I thought they did hell of a
Really
job.
well done.
And plus the fact they had everybody at least about 8 feet apart. Are you okay?
Yeah, no,
Are you want some? Here you go.
No, I need some water.
You gonna be okay over there?
Of course, it's going to happen right now as the
Yeah, of
cameras
course.
go on.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
But they had everybody about 6 to 8 feet away in tables, and
Right.
and they had little family tables, and everybody was pretty COVID, conscious. And
Right.
as if everybody believes, it's a thing. So
They've got a limited menu, and I was talking to the owner, and she said there's a lot of refuse now because everything's just used once and they're throwing it away immediately.
Right.
But she said the limited menu seems to work. People are just happy to be able to get out a little bit.
yeah, exactly.
And it was well done,
It
as
was
you
packed.
said, and
Well,
Safe.
Andrew and Ian, the Wallish boys, they went to the city council and did many meetings with them to figure out what they could get away with. And every county's different on that deal. So they
Right.
spent a long time,
Yeah, they-
working the
Friendly.
details out with the cops and everybody,
Yeah.
so they'd be compliant
Amazing.
with doing the
It
venue.
took a lot of
like
work
that.
for those guys.
I actually saw Mary get up and make somebody sit down. One of the little gals was kind of walking around wanting to
Oh,
be
yeah.
friendly with everybody, and Mary kind of shushed her and sit down.
Well, she didn't want to lose that
no,
right sometimes.
you
No,
can't
right.
blame her.
So true.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bless
But I
her
think
heart.
on a positive note,
Yeah.
you said, we were in this concert last night, the first time we've done a summer concert in
Well.
so long, I can't tell you, because mostly you guys are on tour.
Right.
You've
Right.
just come home, so we're always, the pump is primed to do
Yeah,
some
we're
music,
ready to go, but
But I think we're coming off that energy and that high and that love that we experienced for nearly 2 hours on stage last night. And that's why it's so perfect to do this with you today.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
we've
we're
been
still-
hanging for the last week, rehearsing in this very basement, by the way.
Right?
where we all grew up.
By the way, what is this? What is this basement? This house mean to you, Linda? Why don't we start with you?
Oh, I remember Dad pulling up. We were going up to Aunt Joanne's, and none of the freeways were done yet, so we have to take the lakes around. So Dad would go to Penn and go around to Lake Harriet, and then whatever was next, Calhoun and Lake of the Isles, to get to the north side where our mom's sister lived. And he came up 63rd Street. We were living on 6405 Humboldt. And so 63rd was the main thoroughfare. And Billy, maybe you remember this too, pulled up beside this vacant lot, and he saw Harry Tickner, somebody known to him who was a builder here in Richfield. And Dad got out of the car, and we all waited, and he went up and struck a deal with Harry Tickner to buy that house on the corner, buy that lot
By the lot.
on the corner, and
Really?
they struck a deal and to build this house.
Yeah.
I remember that day like yesterday.
What year
my
was
gosh.
Oh, 59 maybe.
58.
58,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thank you. I think I was the.
You were a baby still in that
Right.
house, and we
but it
moved
was
here
58,
when
and it was done in 59.
We were here for Thanksgiving of 58.
We were.
Oh, wow.
in this house.
Yeah.
Oh, were we?
I'm pretty sure
Really?
that's what I remember.
Because you were a baby when we moved here, Ricky.
Yeah. Well, it's,
Were you born on Humboldt?
I think
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
I remember being mad because the
Awesome.
folks let me stay overnight at Carol Sullivan's house.
That's right. You stay away.
And yeah, I was on an overnight with my little girlfriend, and I came home and there's the baby, and I was so mad at Mom
your
and Dad
good
for
That's funny.
For what?
not letting me be home when the baby was coming home.
Oh,
And I had my nose out of joint.
Dear.
How old were you when he was born?
I think it was 11,
Oh,
10 or 11.
That was a big deal.
That was a big deal.
Yes.
And I was not present.
no. Sorry.
And I
Jess.
remember when you came home from the hospital, I was 4.
I bet you were happy.
And not happy right away, but then
And still
I
not,
was-
incidentally.
I was so
Wow, Jason gets that.
I was so spoiled. I was spoiled, and then there
I
came
don't
this.
think I want to know how she felt about my coming home.
Well, I was used to. No, well, not, I got used to him. Nothing could have been.
I'm used to it.
We were pretty good buds, though, Billy.
Billy, how much music has been played in this basement?
Oh man. Well, when I was a kid, in the '60s, Dad and Mom would let me have rehearsals over here all the time. And you were just a little kid, man. When I was already growing up playing
Yeah.
bands with Dad, and you were 3 or 4 years old, right? So he would let me have a big band. I'll never forget it. We'd set up over where Davide is sitting over there. A big band would be in this basement. He'd let me rehearse with Mickey McLean.
Mickey McLean, I remember
Yeah.
those
I
days.
remember.
Kay
Yeah,
I
Nygaard
was hanging in
singing.
the corner, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, back in the '60s, Jack Gillespie, the guy that got me that tour with the Righteous Brothers, was Dad's running buddy. Jack, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Bobby and we could read music. I had the big Ampeg B25 amp or whatever it was, so I could read and I could play the show, right? So that was back in the mid '67.
Yeah.
Because there were no venues. We used to play in armories. Crap
Yeah.
like that. Horrible venues. Like the sound, but that's
But
that's
the
where
amount
we
of
do
music
it.
that was played down here in this basement was with all the people that came through here.
You guys name some people, and anybody can
Oh,
chime in
yeah.
here.
Eddie Harris, I'll never forget that.
Eddie Harris. When I toured with Eddie Harris.
Yeah.
That's when Hazeltine was about 18. I think I got him the gig with Eddie Harris. Eddie knew me from Chicago.
Yeah.
And Rufus Reed is a good friend of mine, from Chicago. And he kind of made the tie, I think, because he was in New York. And Eddie was still kind of playing in Chicago. And then I started touring with Eddie. But Eddie Harris, I mean, he wrote
I was
Freedom
16
Jazz
when
Dance.
he was here.
You know, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and sitting on the corner listening to him play
Yeah.
right here.
I remember.
Well, I was going to say, Mom and Dad had a grand piano. This was a chandelier at one
Right.
point.
I remember
And so
that.
the
Sit right
grand
here in the
piano
nook
lived
here.
right here.
Yeah.
And so, just even personally, when I was trying to learn how to sing, Mom would have me stand, as a young singer, and she would teach me breathing and where to project from. I never had lessons beyond what Mom did, right standing at this particular piano.
Oh,
So, but there was 2 Hammond organs down here. There was drums, there was bass. What else was downstairs
Baby and
here?
Pig, the baby
Well,
bass. I remember.
Everything was set up just like it is
The baby
now.
bass is in the
It
other
looked the
room.
same- I mean,
Yeah.
Not as much has changed.
No, not
I
really.
know David Sanborn was down here. Howard Roberts came through. Brenda Russell, Olita
Sample.
Adams, Joe
Yeah,
Sample.
Sample.
Right.
He spent a day.
I can remember
Oomba.
Steve Miller.
Joey
coming through
DeFrancesco.
here.
Jody Christian from Chicago, he won the award with Mom. What was that award? We went to
Yeah, it's a
Chicago.
The
Yamaha.
Jazz Masters, Arts Midwest.
West.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Jazz
Jody
Milwaukee.
Christian, one marvelous with Eddie. He was playing with Eddie in those days.
Right. And Steve Miller.
Steve Miller was down here rehearsing.
Yeah,
we all met
that's
him, right?
right.
Where
Yeah.
those guys are
Right.
We were
Mom used to
rehearsing
throw
there.
parties. She had a great big 1970 party. I'll never forget it. And she had a hell of a party. And Nick Nolte was here. I remember
Well,
that.
Yes.
they all
'Cause
cut their teeth at the old log.
At the
Theater.
old Lock Theater,
Yeah.
exactly right.
He forgot his album here.
Wait, by the way, Nick Nolte, if you're listening, I think I might have just given it away. I have a record of yours that I uncovered underneath the stairs. For real, literally,
Well,
just
he probably
found
gave it
this
to
record.
Mom and
Probably.
Dad.
He left it here. It was Electric Lucifer. I think
That's
they wanted
exactly
to listen
the-
to it. I remember it.
Wow.
So
I can't
Nick,
believe you remember.
No.
I remember
I do because it was
was
weird.
scary.
Right,
Yeah.
It was terrible, scary.
only 50 years ago.
Electric Lucifer, that was scary.
That
It's
was
like air raid
scary.
sirens and such.
How funny is that?
Patty,
Cyclotron.
Patty, why do you think the family gravitated towards music? It could have been anything else in the world. Why music?
Oh, I think when your parents play and create and sing and practice music because it's their living in the home you're growing up in, you have no choice but to absorb that
Yeah, right.
language.
Right.
And I've been writing down a lot of thoughts for a future book, and one of the things I said was I think music was our second language, but at times I think it was our first language. And whether we wanted to or not, we were your normal kids who took lessons, and we had piano and organ lessons and clarinet lessons and flute lessons. But the environment in which we grew up, like Linda says, we cut our teeth on
Yeah.
this music, really became how we expressed ourselves as we grew older. Now, I had no idea I was going to become a vocalist. I kind of wanted to be a teacher in Peru. Why? I don't know.
A teacher
Yeah,
in Peru.
past life stuff. I have no idea. I don't know. But as it turns out, I think that how can you escape what's going on in your own home? And I think they probably saw the glimmer of the talent in us as we were getting older and would start to sing this note or when we were really tiny.
Well, we all gravitated towards the instruments that were here too. Because
Well,
they
they
were
used
always
to
playing.
leave the instruments
Oh,
around.
Dad, Mom had rehearsals down here all the time.
In the
Everything.
50s, 60s.
50s, 60s. And
Okay.
they had people down here all the time. They
Right.
were doing jingle demo tapes because Dad was a jingle writer also.
Oh, wait a minute. So before you tell the story,
Yeah.
talk about Mom and Dad and their history a little bit.
Well, I wish I knew more about Dad, but I mean, they had.
And fam,
they were
chime in
They were
if
at WCCO. They were staff musicians at WCCO radio in the 40s and 50s, I believe. Am I
My
right?
mom started it in the 30s. Really.
On radio?
She was
Patty, you probably
15.
know more about
She
it,
was
yeah.
15 when she started, and
Jeez.
Well,
she
this
was
was
going.
CBS radio.
Yeah,
Yes.
CBS radio, but it
Right,
was
right.
CCO here.
She'd
right?
bring her homework. The story went
Really?
to the
I didn't
station.
even know that.
Yeah.
So you guys chime in on that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
and
and
she'd
I-
go out on gigs and do her homework on the breaks. Her older brother Donald, who was a saxophone player, would take her out on gigs, and
Yeah.
Well,
it was
normal-
okay because he was of age.
Yeah.
And
Normal children is kind of the jury's out on that.
Yeah.
How normal we were.
Patty gave me a
'Cause
sign
that's not
that
normal
says,
growing up with all that.
remember,
music
as far
around
as
us.
everyone
Nobody
knows,
did that.
we're a nice, normal family.
That's right.
I have that hanging in my kitchen.
That's right.
Didn't you used to ask your friends, like, what
We all
instrument does your dad play?
Oh yeah, we did. It was like your parents must play too. Oh, my dad's a
Right.
piano player, organ player. What does your dad play?
Yeah.
Well, sure. We all assume
Instead
that.
of what does your dad do?
Right.
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 What instrument does he play?
Exactly. And I love this story because Dad and Mother had to work a lot, and we would be Grandma would babysit us, but Dad had one of those first small basses, and Billy was interested in the bass, and he'd put the bass onto the grand piano. Billy, don't touch this. It's very, very
Don't ever
fragile.
touch this bass.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, those were
That's-
the
and
magic.
you live that too, man. You do that to your kids, and it works.
It
Oh, yeah,
works,
yeah,
that
totally
reverse
works.
psychology.
Reverse
Hey, you see that
psychology,
bass?
Yeah.
right.
Don't ever touch that.
Don't-
That's
don't-
my buddy's bass.
Yeah, don't ever.
And then so the minute he left, I used to be so paranoid of putting it back in the right
In the right
place.
spot.
I
Exactly.
used to
No,
mark
there was
it
a hair
so
hanging on it.
Dad's gonna find out I played the bass.
Oh.
And it was an old aluminum
that's
upright student bass. You know, I was probably 14. I was already playing electric.
Yeah.
The K
But
bass.
the K bass that he
Oh,
bought.
forget it.
my
In the
God.
Where is that bass? Long
Long
gone.
gone.
I brought that bass home.
Do you know? I gave
From
it to
somewhere.
BJ.
BJ.
Bonin.
BJ Bonin. He might still have it.
Wow. I bet he does. He's a musician as
I
well.
know he's yeah.
Yeah.
So
remember
BJ, I
playing-
gave it to him as a kid. It's just say, hey, I had all these basses in those years, and I just gave it to him because he was interested.
Yeah.
BJ being a cousin of
Yeah.
ours.
He's my
Yeah.
Ricky, what were you going
I
to
was
say?
going to say that I remember playing that bass down here when you had the Ampeg bass amp, and it was all brand new.
well, the baby bass too.
Well,
the
no,
Ampeg.
I didn't play that, but I'd take that K bass out, and I remember playing. I'm gonna have some bottom to make you dance.
Oh, Sign of Family Song.
yeah, and bow, 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 bow.
Just loud. Just
Just
loud.
distorted and tearing around. It was great.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
So that was a good one. What else were we going to talk about that one? That was growing up, and Dad actually. I remember when we were hanging with him, the times that we got to hang with him, he would take us like to the Armory when he was setting up a big band to play for
Sonny and Cher.
Sonny and Cher and the Righteous Brothers and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I remember him taking me with him to do that, but that besides that was the baseball games because he was the organ player at the
Right.
Twins,
Right.
with the Twins for years. So, until he passed in '69 or '67.
I remember going down to that show, and it was only Sonny who played because Cher was having her baby.
Exactly.
That was
He was
the
having chastity.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
67.
yeah. I went.
Or it was a miscarriage or something.
I don't remember, but I thought she was having the baby, and it was just
I
Sonny.
just remember that too, man.
Yeah,
It was
do you
like,
remember
wow.
that?
Elliot
Yeah.
Fine was the drummer.
Yep.
Oh.
And Elliot's kid, Leo. No, wait a minute. Leo was
Elliot
Elliot's
Fine.
Elliot Fine,
Was a
and
drummer.
Elliot's son was a drummer, Milo Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we went there, and he and I were singing Marrakesh Express in the cars when we went down.
Oh, you're
there.
kidding. Wow.
You remember that?
67?
67? Had to be. I mean,
Anyways.
Wow.
Jason. Jason!
wake up.
I'm learning a bunch of stuff I didn't know.
Well,
he missed his granddad
Right.
by 1 month. I was expecting Jason,
Right.
and Dad died.
Dad died at 48.
Yeah, and
Right.
I can remember saying to Dad in the TV room, "Oh, Dad, you're gonna live to see your grandchild." You know, in
Ugh.
those days we didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl, and
Right.
oh, and
Right.
of course
He passed.
What did you have, by the way?
The great reveal.
I had a baseball player.
According to that picture, it was Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
You might have to throw that one up there.
Yeah, right?
I remember coming over here because Paul was the last of Mom and Dad's litter, so Mom had a little money by the time Paul was a little kid, and of course I had none because I had Jason Young, and so I can remember
We were
Jason.
very poor.
Can I? You think Uncle Paul would let me borrow a whatever, this or that? I said, well, ask him, honey. I'm sure he will. And
Yeah.
Well, Dad and Mom rehearsing down
Rehearsing down
here.
here.
But I wanted to add to that conversation. I'd come down. Remember, I would yell, "Hey, I gotta have breakfast. I'm going to school." They'd be down here rehearsing because they had to go to work. But it was the morning the show was.
Was
Well,
with Bob
with Bob
DeHaven.
Bobby Haven,
And I think
probably.
it started at 7.
Yeah, so that, I mean, it was. Yeah,
They did the
middle-
music, which were 2-minute tunes.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they sang the commercials.
Well, and that's how I got to play with the Righteous Brothers, because they wouldn't bring musicians, with them.
Yeah.
And so Jack Gillespie,
He always hired out.
I think, contracted that whole show with the Righteous Brothers, and we went on a small MIDI tour,
Wow.
But they wouldn't, like bands, famous people like that, sometimes wouldn't carry their band. Hence the Wrecking Crew making all those Carol Kay and Hal Blaine, and they were, how many million records were they on? You know, so they just sit in the studio all day, and then the guys would go out and tour behind their records.
But Gillespie would hire Dad as the main arranger and main, the orchestra of his dad.
Well, yeah.
I played a job of, I want to say maybe 5 years ago at our Calhoun Beach Club here with Russ, our first cousin, who's a bit older than we are, and played with our dad quite a bit. And this particular configuration was me on piano, Russ on horn, a bass player, drummer, and another horn player, another trumpet player. And Russ said to me, this job here is a dinosaur. He said, in the old days, your dad would have 3 of these bands in the Calhoun Beach Club. There wasn't even a vocalist. We were just playing background for some, 3M or a big convention out there. And he said, your dad would have the society bands in 3 ballrooms here, and then more bands over at another country club.
All through
so
high
Dad
school,
was a society band leader, well known.
And they
here.
were successful.
Very.
Yes.
I mean, that's what they did.
paid cash for this house. Musicians paying cash for a beautiful house
It's
like
unbelievable.
this. Yeah.
In the 50s.
They borrowed $5,000 from Grandma and paid her right back in that first year, but they paid cash for this house.
Well, Dad would have 10 bands out under his name in the 60s.
Yeah.
He and Jerry Mayron.
And they had all the good work. They had the Minnesota Twins. Dad played all the style shows down at Dayton's. I'd go as a young girl down to those style shows, Dayton's, which is now Macy's. And
Mom was she home like taking care of the kids mostly when Dad was doing all this stuff, or was she on those gigs too?
she would be the band leader. Dad would be
on one
band
of the
leader on
bands.
one, Marty Lee on another, Mother on another, and
Sure.
I don't know who all he used, but he had several band leaders, right, Billy? And he'd have many bands out in a given evening, and
Well, I think
stuff that
Dad
we don't
also
know.
created the template of he worked from home, and so he contracted from our home office, and yet then he would go out and play the different gigs or whatever it was that was needed of him. And I remember this more after the time that they spent doing music with WCCO Radio before canned music came in, but. So that was a really hip thing to have your dad at home, even though Mom was still more responsible for all the kids and the meals.
for
and
suppers,
different
there was
things.
a meal on the table every night.
Every night, all of us sitting around the table for dinner, but that was really cool because both parents were home.
I remember Dad going away in the mornings, because he would come home in the '60s, and he would come home. It was like a normal job, I think. Didn't he have like a?
Yeah, he sold.
That's
organs.
right. Of course he did.
Right.
He sold Hammonds.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He
was
go
over at
up
Bodine's.
At
Well, he
Bodine's,
was right.
Wow.
That's what it was.
Yeah, you go up and then
We had a garage full of Hammonds, you guys. We had a garage was full of the left side or the right side of the garage was all Hammonds in the boxes.
Well, now you know where you get it.
Yeah, I got the pack rat from them. Equipment. I got EVPAs in there.
Yeah, the basement still looks like when Mom and Dad were here, Paul.
Oh yeah. Hey,
It's
do you
so
think that? I mean, of course, Dad died when we were all young. Do you think Mom and Dad were surprised that we all chose the life that they chose?
Well, you guys hadn't done that yet by now.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
Dad had
No.
passed, I mean, he knew. I was working all through high school from sophomore year on with Dad's bands.
Wow.
Man. Every weekend, I had to beg to take a weekend off because
Right.
he needed musicians.
Yeah, Billy was the only one I didn't
right,
start playing.
Well, see, I could read and stuff. Dad would have all these shows, and so I wouldn't be playing straight. It was no jazz. It was like what he called a society jobbing dates. You know, what do they call them?
Casuals.
Like out in L.A. Yeah,
Jobbing dates.
One-nighters.
Yeah.
one-nighters. Yeah, and so I'd be
That's a
playing
Midwest
polkas.
thing, sure.
I'd be playing every genre of music you could believe. Schottisches, Johann Pusnipton. I could
sounds
do all
painful.
that. Yeah.
Sounds like
We
jazz
have to
to
play
me.
it. Margie, my
You
little
just
Margie.
scat singing? What were you saying?
Johann Pusnipton.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, can I go back to one of your original
That's
questions?
funny.
And that
I
is,
didn't know that.
how did it all get started with mom and dad? And I think we touched on it within the realm of this house, but maybe people would like to know.
Yeah,
that I think they were
please.
in their teens. I think they met because of the big band scenario that they would have, and I think when dad was playing piano in a band that played her high school. From what I remember reading from mom's journals after she was gone. But she tells the story, and Linda, you can help me, is that back in the day when she was 19 years old, there was one car.
Yes.
And the one car would go pick up all the musicians.
They had a gig at Excelsior Amusement Park.
Okay, and then the girl singer had to choose to sit on somebody's lap. She looked around at everybody and looked at dad and said, "You're cute," and the rest is history. So there you go.
They were 17. They worked at Dance Land where the Rolling Stones played in '65.
Oh,
And I met at Dance Land.
We
on a
never
gig.
saw that as,
No.
as kids
No,
growing
but
up. They had,
mom told the story, and it's just really kind of,
yeah.
it's fun to include
But
that.
you can embellish on that. This is something I didn't know. Patty, tell about the dream when mother was in her last days.
Well, mom spent a lot of time sleeping, but I asked mom, "Are you dreaming? What are you seeing?" And so she spoke like the young girl, like 16 years old. And she
You asked her
talked
even,
about her
how old
sister.
are you, right?
Yep, I did. I had the guts to ask her and then document it. And she said, "Oh, I'm with Joanne and I'm with Willie and he's cute. I think he likes me." And
Whoa.
she says she's 16 and she didn't talk about the music,
deep
but
is that?
I had no idea. I'm thinking, "Oh, that's nice, mom." I didn't quite believe her at this point. But then when I read the journals after she
Yeah.
left and I see this story depicted, I went,
Oh, wow.
"Oh,
It was real.
okay."
But-
16,
Yeah.
17, North High, dad's in a band that's playing her dance, I guess, and he wanted to dance with his girlfriend, so they asked her to go up and sub her, and she wasn't happy.
oh,
That's both.
That's a great story.
I didn't know that one. That is
That's
a good story.
one. Yeah.
Nah.
So anyway, music has been our life ever since they got together, and that's how they made their living. End of line.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it. Huh? Right. That's exactly right.
yeah. And I remember mom being gone every single weekend gigging
Yeah.
when I was growing up because I was 4 when dad passed. You were at home and you took care of me.
Yeah.
You twos were gone.
Three
Yeah.
Musketeers.
That's right.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Jason,
Yes.
gotta make sure you're awake over there.
Yeah.
Tell me something about your mom that most people don't know. Tell me about your mom.
Wow.
G-rated.
My mother is a great Italian food cook. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because we when I was a kid, we would move around. She did gigs in New York and Atlanta and with Pops, and you guys had a trio, right?
Right.
You guys would work with. So you got an Italian meatball recipe from when we lived in North Hollywood, right?
We lived in North Hollywood at the time, and they were so unprogrammed for children that there wasn't even a kindergarten.
Wow.
Even
That explains a lot.
The first grade had only a half day. He was swimming in the pool with
I met Michael Jackson in the cast of The Wiz when I was 6.
up the street at the
Yeah.
pool.
I'd go sneak
I didn't
over
know
to
that
the
either.
I
hotel
didn't know that either.
and break into the hotel and hang out, and Michael Jackson was like, "Hi, I'm Michael."
But what he's referring to
But-
is the super of the building.
Yeah.
They were from the East Coast, Jersey or something, and she was very Italian, and she showed
Cherokee,
me
right?
that was on Cherokee,
Yeah.
North Cherokee, just off Hollywood Boulevard, and they showed me how to make sauce from scratch and put a potato in the sauce to thicken it up and put a pork bone in there and to use that taught me the difference between Italian parsley and regular curly leaf parsley and
So you guys would all agree that Linda's a heck of a cook.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I would
She's got the
agree.
real deal Italian down.
But
So,
was in New York when you had your record deal on RCA. Was Jason? Were you living here or in New York?
No,
when we
I
all
li-
went out and recorded in.
I lived in
72?
New York then. Remember, you drove out with Lynn Ann and
Yes.
Teresa and Tracy. Your oldest
They were
girls
little
were
kid- little tiny
little
ones.
baby. Teresa was a baby. We didn't even have Vanessa yet. It was just Jason.
that was 76.
Yeah.
I think you
Wow.
guys
When did
came
we
out.
cut the stuff for RCA?
75-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
And they flew Billy out.
Don
I got
Heckman, right?
a record
RCA
deal.
record.
Don Heckman, who went on to be the LA Times critic, still is a very good friend of our family. He did a nice critique on Patty when she played vibrato not too long ago.
Right.
But anyways, remained a family friend and was my mentor and was the A&R guy at RCA and signed me on. I was a naive kid from Minnesota, and I happened to call on a weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, and actually got through, not realizing you don't do that. You just get through to the powers
Did he
that
pick
be.
the phone up?
Picked the phone up,
Wow.
liked my
Phone up, took your
speaking
call.
voice on the phone, so
What's the
decided
chances
to
of
talk
that
to me.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so I just got in the door where you never really would.
Did he get you on Spotify?
I don't think Spotify was a thing
Yeah.
back then. That's quite a few years ago.
What about musically with your mom? Talk to me a little bit about her
You know,
musicality.
We were driving over to come over and film today, and one of the things that I said to her was, I love how she always kind of pushes the envelope and tries to learn new tunes. And like we did Quizás, we did a Latin song. She always strives to like add to her repertoire and do cool stuff. And she makes me do it too, and all of us do it too.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Great.
She, besides the fact that she's one of the great piano players in the city.
and songwriter.
in the
And
world,
songwriter.
Yes,
Great
you
songwriter.
I was
Written
waiting
some
for
of the
somebody
most
to say
prolific
that.
songs
Yep.
ever.
Prolific, this
Really
one.
great songwriter.
And fun songs. It's like blues tunes that people, by the time you get done playing them a few times, everyone's singing along on them.
Right?
Well, I said as I get older, I'm writing silly songs. I used to write love songs and all
Right.
the passion of youth and stuff. Now my song titles are "Too Late to Leave Early," "If It Works, Don't Fix It," and "You Got to Be Somewhere."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I mean, I just
Right.
I remember I gave
all
you a
good.
melody. Sam Mejia, the great guitar player,
yes.
came up, and I said, Linda, what can you do with this? Write some lyrics. She called me back like the next day. She had
she
the
had
whole
a whole
song
thing.
done.
Yeah.
That's so, what a gift.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
And
really
Patty needed Patty has the pleasure of being a grandma, and I do not have that pleasure, so I don't think from that perspective. And Patty's also had a little health scare, and she said, I want a song this year that depicts how thankful I am on so many fronts. And she said, well, you think about it and see what you could come up with. And I jumped in her brain and thought about how it would be to be her from her health scare standpoint and her thankfulness of being a grandma and watching her progeny sit around her table at Christmas. And so I did come up with a song for her, and it was fun to write from that perspective,
That's great.
something specially for you,
Yeah.
Beautiful tune.
Yeah,
Wow.
it really is.
Which
It's a
one
very-
was it?
That I am thankful. I am
yeah,
thankful. I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Christmas.
okay.
And my grandkids made a debut, so that legacy.
Yeah, they sang on it, so that was
Whereas
really
our
fun.
kids were on some of our recordings, now my grandkids were on that recording.
Pretty
So
cool.
and
it is.
including a "I love you, Grammy" at the
Oh,
end.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
You know, same thing. Dad used to get us when we were little kids to
Yes.
sing on all these commercials.
Commercials,
I don't know
yes.
if you got in on that.
I did. Oh no,
Did you?
Ricky and I did. We had
Did you
our
guys-
own little time frame as well, and so did our kids. Because then I did that for
You did
4
that,
of our kids.
right.
Yeah, and for my daughter too. You
That's
had
what I
Vanessa,
mean.
yeah.
That was really cool. So, what commercials did you do? Because I mean,
Well, I
I remember
We did
a couple.
Laura Scudder potato chips.
Oh, shit.
Scudder?
Went to the
I
West
remember
Coast.
singing with Len Dressler and the singers on, was it the singers on, no, the High-Lows guys.
Okay.
Oh,
From,
my
was it from
gosh.
Chicago?
Yeah, they're Chicago.
And Len was the bass singer. Is it that Singers Unlimited or the High-Lows? One of the. Anyway, this was Alice Chalmers.
Oh, Tractor
yes.
Company.
People
Yeah.
present.
And Dad, remember we used to play that.
What
thing.
was that?
I
It
was
had
a
a
little
record.
boy. My
It was
voice.
a record. I remember
Yeah.
playing the record on Dad's stereo.
Acetate?
I
Or-
actually
Was it
remember
Alice?
the song
Yeah.
too. So
You do?
I do.
No.
Alice Chalmers, the tractor
Tractor
people,
people
they
present-
got a tractor for you that'll go, that'll really go.
No.
And there you have it.
There you have it.
This week's podcast sponsored in part by
Alice Chalmers.
Alex?
What?
What?
Alice Chalmers.
Alice.
And we did Dairy Queen and Tombstone
Oh,
Pizza.
Dairy Queen. Yeah, we did Dairy
The
Queen.
Sound of Music before it became Best Buy.
Right.
How many
Oh,
commercials
God.
have
Well,
we
that's
done?
that's
in our
modern
lives?
day stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pillsbury
remember
and
it.
General Mills and
Did you work for Mom and Dad doing commercials in, or Dad?
yes, Dad had us do let's see, he had us do Malto Meal.
That's right.
It was Malto Meal and then probably some other ones.
Yeah, well, I remember doing Malto Meal, and
Yeah.
we did.
Yo-yos were free in Malto Meal.
That's correct. I'll never forget it.
I can sing that
Yo
one too.
Yo-yos are free in Malto Meal.
Yo-yo, yippee!
Oh my God, you remember
It's unbelievable.
I
You guys sang that?
Yep.
when you were
Yes,
Yep.
we did.
And
Crazy.
I remember doing a thing for Sarah Lee Cakes too over at the
Oh.
old Sound 80. And Billy did the voiceover for it. And I had to show my hands. His hands were too old looking, so they
Oh,
used
wow.
my hands in the
Yeah.
commercial.
I did the voiceover.
You did the voiceover.
Wow.
Yeah.
It showed your little hands.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly.
Oh my gosh,
Grandma Willie
we're-
wrote a bunch of really big jingles, didn't he?
Sure did.
Dad.
Hams, beer.
Hams
I don't know
was
if he wrote that
actually
one.
Ernie Garvin who came up with it, but he collaborated with Dad all the time.
Okay.
Ernie came up with the cardboard box sounding like a tom-tom.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
What were some of the big
Well,
ones?
that was, I
Northwest
remember
Airline.
sitting on the floor with Dad, and there was some people come in from Chicago who wanted to really, you got to write a commercial really quick for Northwest Airlines. And I remember sitting up, so we were already in this house, but sitting on the floor with Dad. I was about 12, and he was writing that Northwest Orient Bong Airlines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that they stole it from him.
Nice of them.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
never
gave him
Was
credit,
it
never
Chicago
gave
or
him-
L.A.?
I think it was
They
Chicago.
brought it to L.A.
They brought it to L.A.
And it
and
was-
they took it and they
Yeah.
just said,
So the
yeah, we
business
wrote-
hasn't changed at all since.
No,
about
wonderful
right.
business we've chosen.
Right.
But what I think is interesting about that is Dad never did anything about
He
it.
didn't. He wasn't.
And there was another time when there was a critic from the paper who, when he was playing his jazzy tunes as a Minnesota Twins organist,
Will something his
Yep,
name was.
exactly.
And
And
he was just a
I'll think
jerk,
about it.
man.
And he really kind of, like Dad did the Star Spangled Banner with flourishes. And
Yeah.
he took him to task in an article. And Dad never touched it, never did anything.
I didn't get that.
I didn't hear that
Gotta
one.
Go get them.
It's somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's around.
It's
Will,
Wow.
what was his name, man? Do you remember Will something?
Was it
And I'll
Will
never forget
Rogers?
it.
No.
No, but he had a picture
I
with
can
big
see it.
glasses. And
Big. I remember that
Yeah.
guy.
Cartoon.
Yeah, it was a cartoon of him.
Yes.
Anyways,
I'm sure Siri could tell us.
weird.
Yeah. Hey, Linda, talk about your little brother here a little bit.
Oh,
Tell me about
Billy
Billy.
Boy. We were good buds. Still are. He would pick me up at Richfield Bank when he and his buddies were seniors in high school, and I had my first job, and we'd go to Henry's Drive-In and have Cokes.
Wow.
And on Lyndale there, we were just good buddies. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't do music together in those days. I mean,
Right.
but we certainly did later on. I was going to go to Denmark in 1985, and I'd been singing Carole King songs. She was my hero, as who I came up with in the business. And Billy said to me, "Look, if you're going to go to Denmark and go hang in Europe, you have got to put a jazz book together. That's what they want over there." And he made me learn my first jazz tune, Round Midnight by Thelonious Monk, and totally turned me into a jazz singer. And we made my first jazz record in Copenhagen in
Unbelievable
1985.
record. It's so
All Billy and Ben Sidran were playing in Paris, and our good buddy Bob Rockwell, great tenor player, had already moved to Copenhagen, and he was my pal, and so our pal, and so I hooked up with him, and I had this cute tune that a priest friend of ours gave me the title of it. Our friend Father Bill McGrade would come out after Catholic Charities on Wednesday nights and see whoever of us might be playing around town. Well, at that time, I was playing at the Holiday Inn at the airport. And it was Wednesday night. In comes Father Bill, plunks himself on the bar stool at about 11 o'clock. It was the days when we worked the 9 to 1 shift.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, he said, "Well, Linda, too late to leave early." And I said, "Oh boy, Father Bill, that's got a good song title there." So anyway, I ended up writing now what is kind of my signature song called "Too Late to Leave Early." So I had that tune and a few others in my arsenal, and Billy and Ben Sidran were playing in Paris. I had run into Bob Rockwell and a few other great musicians in Copenhagen, and Butch Lacey, yes,
Doug
and
Rainey.
Doug Rainey.
Bjarne Rasvold.
Bjarne Rasvold, and found a great studio that we were later told sounded like the old Blue Note recordings.
Right.
So I said, "Billy,
Vigfus.
Vifu Studios, Philip Vifus."
Vigfus.
Yeah.
I
And
got
I
it.
said, "Billy, here's what I got going on. can you come up? So he hopped on the Viking Nord Express train, came overnight up to Copenhagen. I had the studio thing in place, and we had arrangements. He told the whole gang just what to do. So the whole record really is Billy. I was just the vehicle for the songs, but I mean all his arrangements.
But you had all the great musicians. They were just like, it's like, you know,
I had it lined up, and he came in and gave orders, and
the greatest guys, Doug Rainey, and he just said, "Hey, okay, Rock, you take this. Doug, chord solo for Linda on this." Just like pointing, and then boom, done.
You were producing.
And then Billy sat down. I played a bed track on this tune I wrote called "Sorry to Say," which was a contest between me and a guy named Bob Caldwell here in town back in the day, and we liked the title "Sorry to Say," so we each said, well, we'll come up with a tune called "Sorry to Say," and Billy really liked the tune, so he said, just play me a little bed on it, and he said, then we'll erase your track. He said, I got some ideas. I want to play piano.
Well,
I want to play piano
Let me
on this.
interject something here. Billy was always a musical mentor to all of us.
Yeah, for
when
sure.
we were growing up, he's the first one who ever bought me my first Beatles record, which
Oh.
was Rubber
What
Soul.
birthday was that? Rubber Soul.
Oh, it's six or seven or eight. I can't remember, but it was so
I bought
great.
him Rubber Soul.
But and talking about you too, I mean, when we were all growing up, and he was always instrumental in kind of guiding us in where to go musically.
True.
You know, and trying to figure out what we were going to do in our lives, and even though he was a jazz snob for so many years. And you and Rockwell, man, it's like, look, man, you can't play that, man. You guys do. I'm gonna have to split, and you guys can't do this, man, because you suck,
Well, with Dad and Mom, they were total jazz heads.
Yeah.
So
They
we
did
cut
commercial
our
music,
teeth on that
you know.
stuff.
No, I was popped out, man. I mean, all that stuff that we grew up on was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, and the Monkees and the Beatles and
Great stuff.
Well, but then eventually
it made money, I
Stevie
guess.
Wonder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then that came later.
Oh yeah, it did.
No, but
I mean,
I-
while we're still on Billy, I just want to brag about the group that he had in those years prior to our even going to Denmark. The group called Natural Life. It got a
Right.
5-star in Downbeat
Oh, yeah.
magazine. Unheard of.
With Cousin
Rockwell,
Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby Peterson, Bobby Lyle.
Yeah.
That actually is Bob Rockwell's record. With the first 5-star review in Downbeat that ever came out here. I don't think anybody else. I think Dave King has had a couple with that.
Has he
Plus,
now?
Yeah.
we
got
talk
the
about
first
it. I said I got one of those back in
Right.
little
Was
boy.
it had to be, what year was it? 72? 73, something like that? Because I remember I had a Mini Moog and you made me play it on the record.
I sure
boy.
did. You were the first guy to have it, the Mini Moog.
In town,
77?
No, Rock.
I think.
No, I think it was earlier than that.
Do you think so?
74.
It was the same year I recorded with Dylan.
Yeah.
That record.
I've got that
came
poster
out.
of you or of Dylan for you too. I should have brought it today.
Anyway, so that's my story about him and
Well,
just being.
Mom, you tell that story because she would let you buy any fangled thing. He'd talk her into letting.
Yeah. Ricky could do that.
And Mom would get it.
Well,
She didn't know that was cool.
That instrument. That was the Mini Moog, and
Yeah.
I said I was so adamant about it because it was such a cool thing. It was a synthesizer.
When we were listening to George Duke.
Oh my God! Well,
and
that
it
besides
freaked you
that,
out,
well, it was Emerson, Lake and Palmer that really opened my eyes to that. So with the weird, scary stuff, and I was thought that was great. But I could get because we had a music store out in Burnsville, and one that was like over by Southtown too. That these guys were the only ones that had these synthesizers, and I remember that I was able to go in and mess with them, and I could play with it. I just was so intrigued with it, and I could get sounds out of it right away. I could
Sirens. I remember you terrorizing me with
I could
sirens.
make it sound like a piano, and that's what talked Mom into it. I said, Mom, I can get this to sound like a piano. Not knowing that it was only, a mono voice. You could only play one note at a time. And she went, well, okay, well, and Bodine's was up on 66th and Penn, or
Right.
64th and Penn, right
Yeah.
there. And they had a Mini Moog.
No.
So I would go up there and play their organs all the time. I mean, I'd go up and play all their instruments all the time. Oh, there's Ricky, it's Willie's kid.
He'd let you come in.
They let me come in and play with all those things, and I finally got Mom up to go up there and mess around, and she thought it was pretty cool, and he forked out the money. Full blown dough for it, man, And that's for history for me because that was my favorite thing in the
Yeah.
world.
Well, that had to
Really
be when
cool.
you in the '74.
Yeah,
And then I
73,
said, "Oh, this
74.
thing is cool, man. So you got to play this on Androids." Rockwell's record.
That's all I did. I just sat and played with that.
Well, that was a real crossover.
oh,
jazz.
it was out, man. It was
It's
like
out.
avant-garde. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
and
But that was our introduction. You did that. You brought us all into doing that kind of stuff, man.
yeah, and I like the story about Patty's record. But you talk about a life lesson. So her first recording session, you tell the story.
Yeah.
It's that I
You don't even have to talk, brother.
pretty
This
hard.
is
with
the-
We'll
that
get
one.
to you later.
No, they all know
Yeah, but
about me.
I'll talk about him when we bought his first drum set. together.
Okay, so I sang R&B for the first big portion of my career. I'd say 16 to 26 for sure was all top 40 R&B tunes, memorizing every Shaka Khan lick there was known to man. Sang a lot of Stevie Wonder. I sang a lot of Chicago tunes, Tower of Power tunes. That was so much fun. I was working 6 to 7 nights a week with 2 teensy-weensy kids. And as it turns out, in my late 20s, there was a jazz club opening, and you said to me, "Patty, I think you should come and do this gig with us." And I'm like, what? I mean, because I remember singing a song at 25 with our cousin Bobby, the piano player, and he tried to, it was somebody's backyard, and he tried to play me an intro to get into On a Clear Day. I could not find dough. My life depended
Right.
on it.
Bobby, you have to pay attention to Bobby.
Well, attention to what? It was a planet I'd never been to before. So
Right.
anyway, you and I had done enough gigs, and at that point, I think we were playing with a few musicians and playing the Dakota,
Glenn
and
Swanson, you and me?
yes, and then the Leamington, and Glenn and Lee, and
Lee Bice.
then it was Bobby, and so anyway, this incredible trio, and I was really learning, and Billy was teaching me by going, listen to Ernestine Anderson, listen to Nancy Wilson, listen, and we
Ella,
did. Growing up, have that as influences
That's
in
what
the
mom
house.
and dad listened to.
Well, yeah, but not Ernestine. And so she
No.
had a pocket that I was like, oh,
Smoking.
I get this.
Portland,
you know.
yeah.
And then at 31, I just had my third kid, and I was singing a lot of jingles, just starting to get into that business as a young adult. And quite honestly, I was hired for my soulful voice. But as a result, I found that there was this studio out in the western suburbs where we could record something live in the studio, and I called you. I remember being in the parking lot going, "Hey, we could record live in this studio. What do you think?" So you put together.
Don't throw me in that briar.
Oh my goodness. Kenny Horse, David Hazeltine, Kenny on drums, David Hazeltine on piano, Iris Sullivan. Now
Yeah.
that was the first session, and it was one day, 2 or 3 takes at a time, and you said, go. And I went, what?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because when I talk about that now, this many years, decades later, I still do some of those arrangements. And it's because it was in the moment creativity, and
Right.
he
Yeah.
just said,
Yeah.
trust yourself. Just go, just do it. I like it when you're not on your
Yeah,
center.
when you
and
hang
you-
yourself,
Right,
sometimes
exactly.
When you recover, it's the best stuff you'll ever do.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. And I went,
It's a good teaching, man.
Oh, yes,
That's a
and-
good teaching.
Yeah.
and I remember Ben Sidran saying, we would do, some of them were 1 takes, and we just kept them. Some of them were 2 takes. And Sidran always said, make sure that if you're doing something live, please honor the fact that your most character is going to be on the first or second take.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like,
true.
I lived with stuff that I, in the studio, wouldn't have had to have lived
Solos,
with.
anything like that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
right.
Any of that kind of thing always gets off on the first take.
Right, well,
Because
yes.
then you go in and you go,
Second
I can
guess
fix
it.
that.
Yeah.
You probably fix,
You don't
no.
know, fix
Sidran is
Yeah.
like, nope.
Oh, no.
You're not
He's the
touching it.
greatest at that.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it was a real
That's
humbling
what we're
learning
talking about.
experience for sure.
Yeah.
But that was really cool.
it's a great record too.
And then we
Oh,
we
yeah.
finished a couple
Great
of
history.
tunes. We had Rockwell. We did the first tune down here, and it
Yeah.
was
Get Nancy
Rockwell,
out.
and we used
Yeah.
one of those. Bobby Rockwell on sax, same configuration, but then it was just the trio at Metro Studios to finish it up,
Right.
and
Was Hayes in the whole record?
the whole record, and Kenny and you.
Well,
And then we did Stevie Wonder's "You and I" just
Just you
live
and
in the
Hayes.
studio.
Yeah, I remember that. I
And-
said, just go do it now.
yeah.
And I went, okay.
Hayes is putting the hurt on it,
Oh,
So-
yeah,
so-
and I'm praying for continuity.
Did Patty come to the party? Is really what I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes for any of us, man. We all respond under the gun great.
Yesterday was a prime example.
That's true.
Last
Yeah.
night,
Right.
Yeah.
It really was.
absolutely, and it's turned out to be so enjoyable, and the people, you just see the people's faces, and you go, "Oh, that's why we're here."
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Patty, talk about your little brother over here.
Oh.
Billy, you talked about Patty. Patty, why don't you talk
wow.
about your little bro?
Well, we used to love all those same records that we talked about.
All right.
We talked about already, and I remember when Daydream Believer came out, and Ricky had the parts down, and you were 9 or 10 years old, and singing and playing like crazy. And I'm tapping into the fact that you really are good at this. And then you started.
What tune was it? You remember?
Daydream Believer.
Oh God!
and,
The
Monkeys.
I told you the monkeys. Yeah. Right.
Whatever.
I
And
loved
you
it.
totally got it.
Yeah.
And then I remember you joining this band that I swiped from you because you were 10.
Right, because I was too young, and I was playing keyboards with Dale Juarez, and wasn't he Open Road?
No.
Was
It
it before
was the
Open Road?
Simissex. It
Oh, yeah,
was,
yeah.
I
Bill
don't remember the
Simisek.
name of it.
Anyways.
Anyway, we much like you, Paul. We loved Stevie. We loved Shaka. We loved funk tunes. We loved R&B. We gravitated towards bands that did that, and we absolutely loved working together, singing together,
Right.
which has not changed. But then he started to desert me and go for the bigger and better because he deserved every piece of it.
Oh, well,
Whether it was
I don't know
Good
about that, but-
Vibrations in Town, to meeting Bonnie Raitt, to meeting David Sanborn. And it was so interesting to me when I was courting my second husband, and he was working in California. I'm driving through the mountains in California listening to this sax player named David Sanborn going, "Oh, I love this music." Oh, in about 6 months you're working with him.
Right.
And so he became a family friend, and I've met such wonderful friends through you. But here's the thing: you're fun, you're serious, you come to the party, and you shine. And when it's your turn to shine, people walk away going, "What did I just experience?"
Wow.
Again, last night,
was
a
evident.
classic
Evident.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a standing ovulation.
I did. I had a standing ovulation.
I know we should have ended the show right there. Actually, and I went,
Right.
"Okay, okay." Yeah.
Oh well, it was pretty exciting.
I wondered
It
if
was
you
like-
might, because that was just so.
Oh, I know.
Well, it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Everybody talk about coming to the party. That's when everybody shines. Is when everybody is in the moment and doing it. So it wasn't just me. It was all of us. So
I want to also say that you, as a producer and a writer, your solo endeavors are incredible. And the vision that you've had with who you've collaborated with, I know it's Billy on occasions, but the jazz fusion, because I don't know how else to say it, it's still jazz. It's still real players. And it is the culmination
fortunate.
of so many styles that you have embraced in your life. And your songwriting ability is fun
Thanks.
and deep.
I got taught from good people
Wow.
that write songs.
And your voice. This guy can sing.
Yes, indeed.
You can
Thank you.
sing.
Thank you.
That is so
That's
much
very
fun.
sweet. Well, I got to tell you, if I can collaborate or elaborate on that a little bit.
We're going to break away for a second here so I can tell you about a couple really important items. Number one, we have a brand new highlights page on YouTube. We want you to check it out. It's especially made by our intern, Jake Miller, for people who don't have quite enough time to sit through the entire video podcast. It's a great way to catch up on some great tidbits of information from all of our guests. You're going to have to search for it, I'm afraid, just simply because we need more subscribers on there in order for us to get a custom URL. But it's Music on the Run Highlights. You know what else is on there, you guys? A brand new feature that we've been doing strictly on Fridays. It's called Funk Friday. Got to have a little funk for your weekend. We feature great musicians, some former guests, some future guests, and it's a little 1 to 2 minute vignette of us jamming and funking out. And it's a great way to kick off your weekend. It's called Funk Fridays, every Friday. Check it out. It's on the Music on the Run highlights reel. And of course, you'll find it on Facebook and Instagram as well. All right, let's get back to the interview.
Elaborate on that a little bit. Ben Sidran, we were talking about him earlier, and he's the guy that kind of got us all really going with all the people that we have met.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy, you were the first guy to bring him into our lives. And,
Well,
and
David Rifkin brought...
David
Dave
Rifkin.
Rifkin, but Billy brought me in on that thing. So
Right.
and
Right.
Well,
that's
Prince's producer, David Rifkin,
Yep.
David Z, right?
Right.
Was a good friend of mine. He played Still Roving, and he was at ASI, recorded Natural
recorded,
Life.
he was him and Dickie Headland.
good friends.
Wow.
Yeah,
Real-
yeah. So
real good musicians, and we were into that particular genre of recording. We loved going in. I loved the technology of recording and doing all that stuff. And so we got into that. And Sidran, of course, when all the synthesizers and drum machines and all that stuff came out, I had them because I had to have it.
Of course.
Right.
And all that stuff, I learned how to use it and was able to really manipulate the stuff into making music with it. And we sat at, Billy and I lived together, and Ben Sidran really got me into this whole scene with Tommy LaPuma and David Sanborn, just because of what we did with him. And we did a bunch of records with him, and of course Steve Miller came along after that. And
well,
and
yeah, exactly.
it just, I'm going chronologically,
Yeah.
you know, going up. So, and then all that just turned into things with Tommy LaPuma. He came out to see us at the Portland Arms, and he walked in, the poor guy almost fell through the
He's
floor.
got a $5,000 suit on, and,
Yeah.
and shoes, and the Portland Arms is just destroyed.
It's
man.
just where the porch itself was just like, you know, you
he was
right
like
when you
walking
open
in a
our door.
construction zone,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
got a terrible bad leg
Right.
too, you know. So, and he comes up, he said, "Ben, what are you bringing me, man? We're
Hard to get
It's
on.
like it's hard to get. I guess so. Yeah.
lived
But as soon as we opened the door to this place, Billy and I had a grand piano.
7'4"
7'4" Yamaha
Also.
piano that we all got, and I have to play. That's a quick story behind that because I found all these pianos for Creation Audio, Prince, and Billy. And Billy, we all bought it from the same place because they were cheap and they're down in Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa. We got these
Right.
pianos. Anyway, so we had that. Billy had 5 basses. I had a keyboard set up with a DX7, was brand new at the time, and I had an LM1 drum machine.
Right.
You know, a Lindrum. And so we were making music all the time, and Ben would come in there and go, we were doing this funky stuff, and he really wanted to do some funk stuff for his, you know, rap, you know, the way he sings, like Mose Allison kind of vibe. And he's such a great, what's the word? He's a not psychological, but philosophical songwriter. And so we wrote all these grooves for him, and all of us were involved. I got you involved with it too, and you came in, and this is how we all just kind of went, get, and we all met all these people, got to play with everybody, Sanborn, George Benson, and all these just wonderful musicians through that particular
Connection.
that connection.
You know what Ben said to me during my interview with him? Nothing brings him greater joy than to see his friends succeed.
Well, isn't that the truth?
But I asked him
That's
point
a great
blank. I said,
interview.
if it wasn't for you, we
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing what we're doing. We would be doing it,
Exactly.
but not at the level that we're doing it at.
Right.
Because he let us go. He said, "Let's go.
Here's the
Yeah.
catch.
Here we go.
Right.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here's your
Game
chance.
on.
Here's your
Yeah.
chance. Here we go."
But David Rifkin is the new Ben Sidran from Los Angeles, and he said, you know, Ben needed a guy that could cross over, swing, and play
Sure.
some funk, right?
Yeah.
So in those days, it wasn't that common.
Yeah, right.
I get Steve
And it was
Gadd, yeah, I could do both.
You can do
So
both.
then
Boy,
so
you were-
so
man,
Rifkin's going.
Yeah.
He's going. Who the heck can do it? I don't know. Billy Peterson.
Yeah.
So Prince was doing his demo for Little Red Corvette and Sound 80 in Studio One
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
He's sitting up in there, you know, and I'm going, I knew this cat because I had played commercials with Prince. He was a brilliant guitar player when he was 14, 15 years old. Tommy Tipton would hire him on commercials.
Oh,
wow.
geez.
So I played.
I didn't know that.
I know that.
I didn't tell you. I forgot about it till now.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going, who is this cat, man?
You're
He's
just
so
cut to this
good.
one.
He said, his name's Prince. I said, oh,
Yeah.
God, he's good, you know? He's
Right.
probably 14. You're the same age as Prince would be, so
Yeah.
I'm 8 years old.
62.
Yeah.
I'm 20, early 20s.
Yeah.
And it was at Keith Moon Studios where Prince did all of
Yeah.
that stuff in the early days.
Exactly.
You know?
And
And David Rifkin was the catalyst that introduced me to Ben Sidran.
There you go.
And then whatever happened after that, he said, okay, you're on the band. And we started touring. It was 1978. And so we played all over the world together, and
Wow.
then
And
that
still
one thing
do.
led to we still do. That one thing led to another,
And Rifkin, I just want to put a thing in there for Rifkin because David and I worked together a lot after
Yep.
that. Also, after that, all of us became into fruition that with all these different musicians, and we sat and we worked at Paisley Park when Prince became a big star in '85 after Purple Rain, and they built this beautiful studio. So we were all there and had it filled all the time during the '90s. We
Oh,
had
yeah.
everybody in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in every single studio in every
Yeah.
room.
And you know that
Everybody.
David produced the family record
Yes, he
for
sure
me.
did.
So, I mean, that's
I
how
had forgotten
far
that.
the
Yeah.
connection goes back.
Yeah.
Talk about your little tiny nephew over here.
Little boy.
Yeah, talk about him. Then we actually made it around. This is going to be about a 5-part series, by the way.
No kidding, man.
Jason,
But this needed to happen.
No, of course.
Good.
It's
I'm
fun,
glad
it's
to
fun
have
to reminisce
Really,
and
yeah.
think about
It
this stuff
is.
because our brains are kind of null right now because of this scene that we're in. You know,
Oh, the COVID
Yeah.
stuff.
the COVID
But
stuff,
he's the
and-
sponge.
Yeah.
Talk about
He is
the
a sponge.
sponge.
Well, that's true. But all
Yeah.
you guys are. Everybody is. I mean, we sponged off everybody. Belinda, I've sponged off to Patty, and you and everybody kind of comes to the party when it comes with that. But for Jason, learning, I remember him growing up and always coming up, Uncle Rick, will you show me this on the piano? And get away from me. I'm busy. You know? But he'll
do the
always
same
he'd
thing.
be in the corner, always listening and going, I can do that. And he'd go in there and he'd cop all the stuff that you and I were doing. And then, of course, when he was finished with you and I,
Yeah.
he went to Willard. And
Smart.
Willard went, Billy taught him some stuff and got him to play some stuff that he's never thought of and was interested in all the time. So you've
Yes.
always been a great interest in great musical. So musical in your
He would have mom
endeavors, man.
showing him
Thank you.
stuff
I was
on the
waiting
piano.
for
Absolutely.
somebody
Well,
to
that
say
was the
that.
whole thing. You were
Yeah.
always inquisitive, and you always talked about, you know, you
But
wanted
Mom
to
did
learn.
that for
I
all
did
of
wanna
you
learn.
guys.
Yeah.
Mom
Yeah.
did that for all you guys. I remember you asking her for changes on Danny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yes, I remember that too.
That whole legacy was handed down, and there you are utilizing the same thing.
And what I wanted to finish up with is that I remember when Billy taught him. I think it was it around midnight or what tune was
Wow,
it?
he's going for an audition,
Right,
Berkeley
for
School of
Berkeley
Music.
School of Music.
He's got nothing, right?
Yeah.
This is how he rolls. So he comes over to my
Help.
Maria. We're together, and he said, "Uncle Bill,
Help.
I'm going
Still
for my
to this
Berkeley
day,
audition."
same thing.
So we
And I
got you
said, "Well, "What are you doing?"
I know you do.
He said, "I don't know, not do nothing." I said, "Oh boy." Okay, so Herbie had just reharmed around midnight for the movie. Around
Yeah.
midnight.
Is that what it was, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
around
Yeah.
midnight.
Yep.
And so I said, "Okay, man, I think I can get you. We'll do this." And
It was going for a scholarship
Yes.
Right.
for Berkeley. Right.
So he comes by my apartment. I got the 7'4" piano down. Like, oh, geez, I got to steal Herbie's changes on the rearm
Oh,
around
whoops!
midnight.
Doggone it!
You know, because he just
Right.
killed
Talk
it in
about
the
a
movie,
sponge.
you know.
Yeah.
Willard's
So
a
I'm
big
going. I
sponge,
steal
too.
all Herbie's changes, and I say, okay, now this is how you got to play for these guys. I know the guy what they want to hear out
Right.
there for him, get him a scholarship, right? So I tell him exactly. Here's the changes. I'll put the piano bit down. Is that how we ran it?
Well, I think we initially did it there, but we actually recorded right here in this
In the
basement.
basement. Of course we
That's
did.
what I thought you would
Yeah,
do.
we recorded
I
right
remember
here. You helped me
that.
work out a solo.
yeah.
That's what
We
I
sent
remember,
that
too.
in and got some money,
Yeah.
scholarship money.
You got a
and-
free ride to
Yeah,
Berkeley.
to
And
Berkeley.
after that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because of what Billy.
Yeah.
But I knew what those guys would think.
Right.
Oh, what's this kid coming in with, man? You know.
That's Jason in a nutshell, man, and the rest is history. Going, I think your first gig was with
Richard Marks was
Richard Marks. Was that the first one, or was it
Richard Marks was
Solo?
my first big touring gig.
Okay.
And actually, I was going to Berkeley, and I got home that the summer after my first year at Berkeley, and then Paul said, "Hey, man, you want to possibly I could throw your name in the hat for this gig." Because you were with Left Bank Management, Alan Kovac, right?
Yep.
So Richard Marks and Paul had the same manager. Anyway, he got me an opportunity. There was a guy named, was it Jimmy Z? Jimmy Z was the guy playing with Richard Marks at the time. And I don't want to say too much about this story, but anyway, Jimmy Z Richard was opening for Jeff Beck at the Tokyo Dome. And Jimmy Z found a way to get himself fired. I'll just say that.
Okay.
So he gets a call. Paul calls me. He said, "Man, I've got an opportunity for
Very
you."
eloquent, by the way. That was very
Did
nice.
you like that?
That was
Okay.
really good.
Politically correct.
Right.
Found a way to get fired.
He found a
Cameras
way
are
to get
definitely
himself
rolling.
fired. Thank you.
We always do that. We've all done it.
So anyway, I get the call from Paul. I come in, and he said, "You want this gig?" I'm like, "Sure." I was 19. I was getting ready to go back to Berkeley for school, but he's like, "You got the gig. You're on a plane tomorrow to Japan."
Yeah.
So I didn't even know this music at all. So I had like an old Walkman, and I'm trying to like learn Richard Marx's gig on the Walkman
On
the plane.
Yeah.
They pick me up at Narita Airport in a limo, send me to the Tokyo Dome.
That's your first gig.
First gig. Go.
Oh,
I was
Well,
19.
Boy, talk about
Welcome to the
That's
game.
what we do.
Bam.
We kick
Yeah.
kick them to the
Patron to the
curb.
wolves.
Yeah.
You guys did it to me. We do it to
Yeah.
we-
And I just
Rite
want
of
I just
passage.
want to expound on one thing that's really important to me in growing up with all you guys is I've learned something from every one of you guys, including Grandma.
Yeah, of course.
And I call it the Peterson School of Music. I mean, I am so fortunate to be able to draw from that well of knowledge and experience and
But you're very
understanding.
talented also.
You are.
Well, I do want to learn. You said that before. I always want to keep learning, but
That's
I'm
what it's
thankful
about.
that you guys are here to help me, and we all help each other. But I just want to say that. I mean, what an unbelievable opportunity to
Great
be with
legacy.
you guys.
Great legacy.
That's
And
true.
he
I'm
is
learning a
sponge.
lot.
Always
I'm
has
learning a
been.
lot about the backstory that I don't even know.
Yeah.
So this is really
Yeah.
cool.
That's great.
So let me read you something. I reached out to a few other families who are musical, and I want to read you a couple of things. Here's number one. When I think of Minneapolis, Minnesota, there are three things: cold, Prince, and the Peterson family. That's from Ivan Neville.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
Sweet guy.
Wow.
I just got through doing a gig with him. Go on.
Number two, there is nothing in the world better than a close family. The Petersons are the perfect example of what happens when a family loves together, works together, and plays together. Victor Wooten.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He should know.
Yeah, right.
Here's
Right.
number three. Here's a story of a family named the Petersons, who are one of the most musical, funny, loud, entertaining, loving, and caring families the Escovedos know. We thought we were talented until we met them. We love you, Petersons, the E family.
Wow.
Sweet.
Isn't that nice to hear?
So sweet.
Wow.
Hey, can we talk about you for a minute?
Yeah.
You know what though? We don't. They have a whole
Well,
episode
they,
on me.
They have an episode on me too, so we don't have to do that. But you're part of the family, so
I am.
yeah. So would you do me a favor and one of you guys expound a little bit, and we can go around the horn just for 5 minutes?
Just super brief though,
Okay.
because they know
like
about
30
me
seconds.
already.
Don't be nervous.
Well, I'm oldest and he's youngest, so I was already out of the house when Paul was born. He was number one, the cutest little kid you've ever seen in your life. He
Towhead.
could, little blonde, and the rest of us
Little
are dark
towhead,
hair,
yeah.
little blonde,
Where'd that come
blue-eyed kid. And Mom would bring him over to my apartment, and he could whistle when he was 9 months old. And I
remember that.
I was like
I
18
totally
years
remember
old.
that.
I was laughed so hard I fell off the couch. Mom could never forget that. I mean, we were so cute. And playing drums on the pots and pans, but so were you, Ricky.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yes, I mean,
remember Paul when I was playing drums when he was a baby.
Yeah.
And he was so scared of the cymbals that he would hold his ears. Because he's still doing it to this day.
Yeah.
It was like
Perfect.
so terrible. It's
I
scary.
remember him playing the drums too, and I'm going,
Oh, sure.
looking at this little freak, man.
Yeah.
He's 9 months old, and he's sitting
Yeah,
up there playing
just-
Wipeout.
Absolutely.
He can actually
Playing
play the whole
Wipeout.
We have
Wipeout
pictures
solo
on-
at
it's
9
on
months
video.
old. He
Good.
couldn't sit, he
you
had
were,
to stand
you
up
were
and
2 or
play.
3. You were 10,
Yeah.
and I was. You
12.
were 8, and I was like 12
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
And we did television together.
Yeah.
We did.
So I was
Yes, we
13.
did.
Carmen the Nurse.
14, 13
Yeah.
or 14.
Yeah.
But I remember you sitting there, and I'm going, geez,
Holy buckets.
Yeah, Wipeout.
Yeah.
I remember that so well. You could
But
play
he's
the
not
whole
sitting
thing.
in a chair, mind you. He's standing up,
Yeah, he can't
playing
sit.
it,
He's
and he can still
barely
go.
going.
Just 9 months, you walk.
couldn't reach the
Little
pedals.
towhead, yes.
No, he
little
was 2.
Beetle haircut.
That's what I remember.
Remember the beetle
Well, I mean,
haircut?
it was unbelievable.
Well, talk about a
Wow.
sponge. I mean, we always talked about you being the sponge, the trickle down effect.
Yes.
And then you talked about it with him. But seriously, wow. I mean, I watched that happen with
Right.
you, and we were so close.
We all
And
did.
your love and passion with music, it was just undeniable.
And a fast learner, smart. I mean, right away got all the logistics of all the stuff and why we're doing this. You know what I mean? Billy got it. He hit it right on the nuts. You got got the talent, man. You got blessed with all that beautiful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, you
I
would
wasn't
play.
expecting to hear that.
You
from
would play
guys.
with
Those-
Mom as a really, really young kid. I don't know, were you 11 or 12?
She gave me so much,
And
so
you
many
learned
lessons.
all the standards
Yeah.
working with
Yeah.
Mom. And
Right, but I
Yeah.
remember you at 15 years old. He couldn't come to a gig with the TC Jammers.
At
You took
Moby
the-
Dick's.
Moby Dick's.
Dude,
You took
said
the
his
whole-
for me.
Letting you and Moby
And-
Dix when
and
you're 15.
There is,
Really?
I have a videotape of it, okay?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Clarence,
Yes, I do.
You remember Clarence, the size of Clarence?
Of
the
course
post-
I remember
Yeah.
Clarence,
Jeez.
yes.
Oh
And
my
you
God, they let him
killed it. And
let
it was
him in.
Josh
Oh.
Weaver on the bass.
Betcha.
It was
Golly.
so much fun. You were with Bonnie or somebody. I can't quite remember, but
I had to sandbag it or something.
I don't remember.
You might have been in Iowa, snowed in. Is what I
Oh,
think
is that
you
what
were,
it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So fun.
Said the Gold fan, Bobby Gold owned that place.
Yes, I remember that too.
Man.
And I used to
Talk
skate. He
about
was a
history.
speed skater.
I
He
was-
do you know that?
Yeah, I do know that. I remember that.
Like when we were kids, we
Speed
skated
skating.
against each other.
You
Yeah.
guys all speed skated, did you not?
Well,
We did,
this
Billy
is
and I
a
did.
great transition because this is called Music on the Run.
Yeah.
We
Right.
haven't even gotten to, what people do as far as being healthy. We all have our different things that we do individually.
Or try to.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. And we're not spring chickens anymore, so things have changed. We have our resident almost Olympian here. And Billy, you almost made the Olympic team in 1980.
Well, I didn't know. I was in '81. I think I skated the best actually in '81. So I was almost 30.
Yeah.
You know, I was later athlete.
Eric Hyden. You were skating with Eric.
I skated behind Eric Hyden a lot.
I have a funny story about Billy and us in Denmark. When he came to do that record with me in Denmark, he was preparing for this senior men's speed skating championship. And I was on the 13th floor of the Sheraton Hotel.
Right.
He would run up and down those stairs
Like a
every
crazy person.
single day.
I would try to run them with you.
Is that right?
I would try
Oh my
to.
gosh.
And you were in the best shape of your life, you
I
said
came
after
home and I
that.
broke the state record.
Yeah, and then
in
you gave me the
1500 meter.
medal because it was around the time of my birthday.
Right.
And you
I
gave me
couldn't
that
come
medal.
to- Yeah, I remember
Right.
that.
He said, yeah, I won the medal. I'm the fastest geezer in the world now.
Yep. Was that a bike race though? I think it was a bike race.
Yeah, I was racing bicycles. Yeah, I won the state championship, I
Yes.
think, in the sprints.
Were you and Rockwell
Something,
was doing that
Yeah.
together? I'll never forget that, man. You guys
Anyway,
were
you know,
always-
that was. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
I gave
yeah.
you the medal. I said,
Sure did.
you know,
Here you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, we're all athletic to some degree, you know. And then, when Dad passed, I was always throwing the ball to you, and and
Baseball is a
Linda
big thing. in our
skated
family.
too at a young age.
I
I mean,
did.
Ernie Garvin, the guy we mentioned earlier, was my keyboard teacher, and he was also a staff musician at WCCO, which was CBS Radio. And he's looking at my dad, and he's looking at me. He said, "Hey, my kids dig this, man. Ernie had 5 kids that were national champions. speed
Wow.
skaters.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the greatest coach. He could see body language at a real young age,
Yeah.
you know. And back in those years, Tom Gray was skating, and these great athletes coming out. Ronnie Ickes,
Yeah.
the Ickes boys. So Ernie looks at me and says, "Bring that kid down to the silver skates, We'll throw some. I got some hockey skate, and I won the silver skates with hockey skates on." And I goes, he says, "Man, that kid, I think he's got it, So,
Yeah.
he started training and telling Dad knew nothing about it. Dad was a hockey guy, and so then Ernie spiked Dad's. He just spiked it, got him going on it, and then he started taking me to these things. And Ernie
Well,
would,
Linda, you skated too. didn't
I
you?
skated, and I was good, and you'd get going so fast. But what the folks didn't know is that I needed glasses, and we'd get going so fast, and it scared me because I really couldn't see well. I was nearsighted. I thought, I'm going to kill myself or somebody else, and I kind of went. "Meh." And I think part of it was getting to be a little young lady and thinking those ugly black long blade skates were not very cute.
That's what it really came down to.
Both those things.
I don't know. Did you skate?
I was a speed skater, but I never joined a team.
Okay.
It was, I don't know. I grew up squishy when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. And
Good.
I was a
I'm not the
dancer
only one.
actually, and I never got into it but I remained a speed skater my whole life as I was raising my 4 boys and stuff. So, I mean, I haven't been on a pair of skates in a super long time, but
Yeah.
I loved it. And for years and years and years, that posture as a speed skater that you just get so strong through.
Yeah, you do get strong legs.
Yeah.
I think my
Yeah.
legs are still strong because of those early days.
Well,
of,
Used to work out with Billy at the
yeah, yeah.
doing squats and stuff with
Really?
100-pound inner tubes on our back. It's filled with sand and doing
I remember
squats.
those
I was
over
like,
there.
oof, I put a pair of skates on.
Would you? Could
Yeah.
you bend over?
he took
Could
me
you bend
skating.
over to do it?
Barely.
I hated it. I was freezing. I remember you
I
took
actually, he
straight
was
skating.
really good. Paul
Paul could
skated
skate.
I was okay.
with Damon.
The only reason I wanted to do it is because at the end of training, you take me up to Arby's for a
Doggone
apple
right.
cider.
Oh,
That's
that's
great.
cute.
I had to
Are
throw
we
him
done
on-
yet? I want to go for an apple cider.
Yeah.
That's right, hot apple cider.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
You were 15 and babysitting my kids at a gig we were doing in Duluth. We had a house, a band house, and you would take the kids in a stroller and run up and down the hills of Duluth.
Yeah, I actually melted the plastic tires
you
doing
did.
that
Oh, no.
on the stroller. I did.
There you go.
But overall health at this point in your lives,
Oh boy.
Patty shouldn't be here. You came back to life. Thank you for that, by the
We have
way.
won the lotto as a
Yeah.
family.
Oh my God.
You had
Yeah,
an
it was a
aortic
lot.
dissection
Yeah.
12 years ago.
Yeah, well, 13 years ago,
Is it 13?
and
Gee.
it's only 1 in 3 people survive such a thing. At least at that point, I had no idea there was something going on, except for I knew I needed an aortic valve replacement.
Right.
But what it was doing is, if everybody had the little science project, the upside down umbrella handle comes out of your heart and feeds your body and your organs, your brain and your arms, your limbs branch off this. Well, there was a burst aneurysm, which is usually when people go,
Yeah.
and it's 3 layers to the wall, and blood goes down the right way and the wrong way and splits the entire way down. Most people don't make it. They don't make it when it happens. They don't make it during surgery. I'll tell you what, the experience was.
It wasn't your time.
Apparently, it wasn't my time, but
Right,
I know
Thank
that.
God. Thank you
For
that.
me, it
Yes.
was just such an incredible, the joy and the gratitude on the other side of this thing. I think of being able to see my kids graduate, get married, have children, be with this incredible family and make music, and be with our mom in her last days.
Yes.
And it's funny what it leads you to, though, as well, and becoming a spokesperson for aortic dissection. Probably the most famous person, one of the most famous, is John Redder, who died from this.
Right.
Lucille Ball did. And so many actors lately, you'll find that it isn't just a massive heart-related thing. It's actually runs in the family.
Right.
So the bandwagon is to get people checked.
Yeah,
right.
And so it's been an amazing journey. And now the boards that I sit on that are through the National Alliance on Healthy Aging and things like that, and telling my story to the FDA. I live with a mechanical heart valve, take Coumadin every day. It's a small price to pay for sitting right here with all.
And your voice is better than ever.
Yeah, is that the truth?
150%.
Yep.
Well, I just said everybody needs a new heart valve.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
right.
Hey, it's coming.
We're all going to be bionic before we get out of here.
My favorite type of exercise for many years, and it's getting a little tougher now, just because there's some restrictions, but it was Pilates. I got into that, and it really spoke to the dancer that I was as a young person, and then as a singer entertainer, and that was really something my body responded to. Like, I liked working out, I liked doing aerobics, I liked lifting weights, but I loved the way my body looked when I was diligent for 15 years on Pilates. So that was my favorite. And then I'm into holistic medicine as a result of one of my kids
And your oils and all
with
that.
chronic ear infections, and
Yeah.
it led me on a path of learning about only using holistic medicine, but when I had my heart ordeal, now I walk the talk of integrative medicine. And so I have my handful of medications and I have all my vitamins and essential oils.
We all do.
And that's exactly right. If I can,
All of us do.
it's
No,
the
thank
whole
you.
experience, and just here I am talking about it. Thank you, God. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really cool. So
I like golf.
It wasn't your time, sister.
No.
I know.
You kicked the
what do you
Grim
say?
Reaper's ass.
That's I love it when
Yep.
you say that.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
So, Ricky, when you're on the road with Fleetwood Mac, I know you, because I came out and saw you, you have a routine. You
I
do
have
the
a
gym.
routine every day.
Every
Go to
day.
the gym every day because that's you have a. Yeah, I mean, it turns into a routine. You know, it really does, because if you don't do that, you just you lay in bed. You know.
Right.
But, we love going to the gym because you find your buddies that go there, and we laugh a lot, and we do what we do, and you can do it with other people, which is great, because when you're on your own, it's tough to do it.
Of course.
You know, and we also
Very
like
true.
we also like to go walk. We do take a stroll. It's a time to stroll. It's time to stroll on a day off. We strolled 6-7 miles
Sure.
around the
Oh,
city.
that's great.
Yep.
In every city that we're in, absolutely. That's one day you'll stroll, and the other day you're in the gym. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But a little lifting weights. I got, the
Absolutely.
security guards that are down there that are working out all the time. You know, because they're just massive. Show you how to do it, and it's
Right.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, so I got arms that on the road this
Yeah.
last time. So yeah.
Wow.
And in the intern, I got a bad hip now. So
Yeah, I
but
see
it's
that.
going to go away. It'll go away, but it's
You'll be bionic.
yeah, I'll be bionic pretty
Bionic.
soon. Yeah. But anyways, it's all good, man.
Welcome to the family.
Yo,
Yeah, right?
I'm telling you.
JP, when you're on the road, well, even when you're home, it's baseball, your martial arts.
Yeah, I've been involved with the Minnesota Collie Group and Rick Fay, my teacher, since about 1991. And that's a big part of what I do. And then I like playing ball. And the same with like Uncle Ricky. When I'm on the road with Michael Bolton, you're traveling so much that you have to take care of that part of your life. Because you do get tired from sound checks and shows and traveling. You have to balance it with going to the gym, getting your rest. The stroll is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I love walking
You
around
gotta
these
stroll.
great cities.
Well,
That-
you know what we used to do also when we were playing with Miller? We'd all go play golf, and
Yeah.
we would call the golf clubs, and we love playing golf. I
Sure.
I grew up doing it as a kid. You know, I haven't done it much lately, but
Right.
But we would call the local country clubs and go, hey,
We got tickets for
I
you.
got tickets for you. What you got a kid? You got a couple of
Absolutely.
them, you know. So we'd go play golf.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got Miller out there. We got Steve Weiss, who was our sound
Yeah,
engineer
right.
at the time doing that.
That's right, I
And
remember
Billy, I think you came out. Paul, you were there all the time. And it was just,
Yeah.
we had a ball, man.
Yeah.
And you guys were runners all the time. I remember that. You ran a lot. So,
Yeah.
and we had a little routine with Steve, man. We'd all do stretches and all sorts of things on our days
Steve-
off. Or
Steve,
when we were at the gig
Yeah.
in the outdoor amphitheaters, I remember going, you'd have a ritual. We'd all
Yeah.
do stretches and
That's
yoga
great.
and all sorts of crap, you know.
Vocalizing.
Yeah,
I remember you guys
that's
doing a
right.
vocal warm-up.
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Steve,
Say Ali
Yes.
Man.
Steve was very
Yeah.
adamant about
Yeah.
us singing.
I do
Yeah,
remember
right.
that.
And
Yeah.
singing together. So that was cool.
And Linda, you're a walker, I know.
I'm a walker and a treadmill gal in
Yep.
the winter time if I'm home.
Yeah. Things
So-
that help relieve
I have
stress.
little weights upstairs. Yeah, I mean,
Alright.
just whatever's at hand. But I do like my treadmill, and I am a walker, a daily walker. So those
Bill-
are the things that I like to do.
Billy, what was your mode of transportation this last February, March, and April in Maui?
Well, I went out there, you know, after
Yeah.
my birthday on the 23rd of January.
Visit
and-
me.
To visit you. Ricky was rehearsing was that Fleetwood Mac
You know,
rehearsal?
it was Mick Fleetwood. It was a,
Mick
a
Fleetwood
tribute
thing, yeah.
thing to Peter.
So Ricky
Green,
was
yeah.
the musical director on that.
Yeah.
So he's out in Maui. I'm going, He's staying at the Andaz Hotel, and I'm going, you know me, I'm a couch surfer.
Yeah.
You know, so I stay, do something. I said, Ricky's got the damn Andaz, you know. I'm going, okay, I'm going to throw my bicycle in a bike box and take all my rollerblades and all that stuff out there. And so I took my bike out, but he was staying at the Andaz, so we ended up hanging with Glenn Johns and Mick, you know,
Yeah,
just partying, having the greatest time, man.
But your
And-
bike was the deal.
Bicycle.
That
and
was-
the bicycle, I brought my
So that
bicycle.
was your mode of transportation was your bike.
Yes, yeah. So I love cycling. You know, I competed a lot of years on the bike,
Right.
cross training for speed skating and whatnot. And skating in the time trials at the Olympic Training Center in Milwaukee.
Wow.
That's what I did for many years, through. And I actually backed into being like that. I was a real good athlete when I was young. I was junior world, in line for that. Skated with Steve Dewar and Denny Barry, who
Right.
were all great skaters coming out of here, and I competed with them. But then I started playing so much music at about 17, I didn't skate anymore, And so then I got married at 19, and I'm going, geez, I want to stay in shape. And I kind of started just skating in local races again, just to stay in shape and play music. And so
The wall of
20 years
trophies,
old.
that's what I remember.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your basement. Yep.
Yep.
Wall of trophies, man. He won every
Well, then I
meet
said,
that he
oh
ever
man,
did.
now I'm getting really good at this. And I said, so I talked to my young wife, Lynn, we were 20, 21. She says, man, you got like one chance in your life to do this, in your 20s. So she said, go down to Olympic Training Center. You got to go down and start, training with the
And
cats.
that's
And I
that's
won
great.
national medals
Yeah.
in the open class, men's open class and stuff. So I went, better give this a shot just to see how good I am.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or shut the hell up, forever hold your peace.
Right.
But so I went down, and then that's when I met David Hazeltine. He was a little kid,
Yeah.
down in Milwaukee.
That is a
He
great
and
story,
I
by
were
the way.
Yeah.
He tells the
Jim
story.
Chapin,
Yeah.
the great sprinter
Chapes.
from the United States, made Chapes. Remember Chapes? He made like 3 or 4 Olympic teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He and I want to go out and have a beer. We'd train 3 times that day, so this is how we met David Hazeltine. So we're coming down to John Hawk's pub, and it's packed. It was it was during a week because we had to race on Saturday and Sunday. We wouldn't be drinking too much, the night before. So we want to go have a few beers, and we go down, and I would walk through, and people were smoking cigarettes in those days. Bars were full, and I
Yeah.
walk into this haze, and we look like freaking bums. We got all of our training stuff on, stocking hats, like the kids wear today. But that's how we looked, And I walk through, and I'm hearing this music, man, like through the chaos. And I'm going, God, it sounds like Herbie. What are they playing, a Herbie Hancock solo record or something?
Wow.
He's doing Maiden Voyage or something. I'm going,
Billy, you and I just walked in there. That I remember doing when we were in Milwaukee recently. You said, "This is where I met Hazeltine."
right? Yeah, we
Right
walked
here.
right by there when you
Yeah.
were with Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
So I walk in and I'm going, and I walk through and I said, well, this might have got to be canned music. I walk through the door like this, and I see this little kid sitting on a piano, and he's playing it, and I'm shot. Spent 3 training sessions. Me and Chapes want to get a beer, And I go back and I walk back out the door. I said, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Is this little kid playing this?
Yeah.
So I walk back out the door. I said, Chapes, is he playing that? Is that kid playing that? I said, Chapes says, yeah, I think he is, man. It's coming through the whole sound system. So I walk into it and I look like a bum. I say, and he was just doing a solo piano set, and then there was an upright bass sitting there. I said, hey, can I sit in with you? And he's a little guy, kid. He thinks I'm a street bum, and it looks like I just ran a marathon.
He
Well,
loves
not yet. You
telling
were
the
working towards
story.
that.
So finally, I talked him into letting me play with him, man. And the rest is history. We've been playing
wow.
together forever.
Yeah. Wow.
But that was the night I met him, probably 78,
Wow.
77.
Well, I remember being on the road with you with Ricky, and we would party,
Yep.
and we'd have fun. And you had a famous saying, one of many quotes of yours. One is, if you're gonna play,
You gotta
pay.
You got to pay the
Well, we
price.
party, yeah. I mean, we were kids, we could take it, in those days,
True, but you were always instrumental. Come on, let's go. Come on.
I ran a lot with hangovers.
It's a horrible hangover. Dude.
He would make me. We were in Denver at Elevation, and we were at Red Rocks, and we would party the night before, and he's like, "Come on!" I'm like, "I don't feel so good, brother," and he'd make us run the steps at Elevation at Red Rocks till we hurled.
my
From the
God.
bottom all the way to the top on those
It was the
stairs.
worst. I hated you for that, but then we were all ready to do it all over again.
Yep, you felt great after
Yeah.
you did that.
The other famous saying that I got to share with you, and you've heard it before on here, is, I don't. What is it? I don't work. I play.
Right.
Concerning music,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I think that's the
not
most
called
brilliant.
Work, it's called playing, right?
That's right. We
Yeah.
don't work
Yeah,
music.
work, I
We
play.
play music.
Yeah, we play.
Well, yeah, I want to transition into this because I want to be good about your time and everything. But this is First of all, when I started this podcast, this was a goal of mine to get you all together, and that's nearly impossible. But
It is.
that's the only good thing about COVID is that you guys
Yeah.
We're all
are
in.
all in
home.
town.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the legacy that we have. Mom and Dad had their legacy, but sorry to say, it's about our legacy and what we're leaving behind. What does the Peterson family legacy mean to you? And I'm just going to pass it one down and be
Well,
brief. And
we touched on it earlier
Yeah.
about having the legacy and passing it down to each one of us as sponges, as we're growing up, and it ended up being talking about Jason, and we're talking about what a legacy we all have created to and just to enjoy what we do musically and each other for that matter. This is what we do, and I think that's the biggest legacy is the enjoyment of being together and playing.
Good.
So.
Patty?
Oh boy, so many things run through my mind when I think about that. Legacy to me is how can you make an impact in the world and make it for not only the generation that is our parents, but for our generation. But something that I've learned about us is the more that we can play together, it's truly our happy place.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that when we get together, we're, the antennas are open so much, we could do a live recording and have about 20 albums. But there's something about the starvation of not spending enough time with each other that when we do get together, actually booking a recording session isn't the key thing. It's where's the food and what time's the gig.
When the hang.
And
When the hang
exactly,
starts.
when the hang, that's another
It's all
one.
about the hang.
Of
That's
Billy's,
the
it's
hang.
all about the hang, right?
all about
But it
the hang.
also, I want to say, I take hats off to Mom because Mom would sit, and you can't see it right from this perspective, on the stairs when all of us kids were rehearsing
Yeah, right
in
behind the
this
camera
basement.
and
Yeah.
the lights.
And she would envelop all of the different talented people we would hang with. Some never went beyond the basement rehearsal space. Some excelled and went beyond. And so I think that has been instilled in all of us as well, to be able to recognize the talent in other people.
To be nurturers.
Young or old. And for me to know that I grew up with these incredible parents, to be able to honor still the people through radio who are working in their 80s and 90s like our mom was, and to be able to create a legacy where everybody's story gets heard. And so it's a consciousness in which we grew up in, and I know that for me, we are, and whatever unfolds as a result of this moment on, from our love of each other and music, I can't predict what it's going to be. We can make it happen, but man, I just know that it's going to be filled with that love that we all feel for each other.
Yeah.
So, no matter what it is. Yeah.
What about you, Willie?
Well, she said a lot there. I think all our family is great at bringing the game hard. All you guys. And when we play like last night, I mean,
Feed off each
we
other.
grew up, delivered under the gun.
Right.
And I remember interviewing me when John Patitucci and I said, John, I think I've seen you in the most amazing, stupid situations where you're being videotaped and you got to play. And, like one time Hank Jones, he was playing with Hank. And I mean, talk about having to be under the gun and being
Right.
great. I said, how do you always come to the party and you know what not to play? You always bring the game, And so I think we have collectively as a family, and you talk about legacy. Are we leaving a legacy? I don't know. We just are doing what we're supposed to be doing.
I think that the legacy is making people happy is what we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
That was
Okay.
apparent.
And the
It was
scholarship
unbelievable.
now
That's,
for-
if I can do that, then I've done my job.
Right on.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
So
with
I'm
that.
happy about that.
But Patitucci under the gun, I said, God, John, and we're all great under the gun.
What was his answer?
I mean, he said, I just keep my nose in the wind and my mouth shut. I saw him at a record date,
Somebody's dying.
and he's in New York, and the drummer was not the appropriate drummer, but it was a Japanese production.
Yeah.
And Kenny Lee Lewis and I sat at the bar, and I'm going, and Hank is looking, giving the dad look, the drummer, over the glasses like that. I'm sitting at the bar, I'll never forget it. Patitucci's in the middle, like this. And the drummer wasn't the right call.
It was awful.
And me and Kenny, I go, shit, look at the old man doesn't like this. And so John's in the middle of that, but he just played brilliant, man.
Yeah.
And between all this chaos going on, filmed, live,
Yeah.
in some jazz club in
Wow.
New York. But back to our story,
Yeah.
and the legacy is I think we're all good at that, and that's why we collectively all still get calls from other people.
Sure.
We've got this experience now, which most of the time, in most cases, we're great at editing ourselves.
Well,
Because we have all this,
Except for this podcast.
you're going to have a
Sorry, guys. Good luck with the
Are
podcast.
you sleeping yet?
hey, Dominic,
There's
wake up.
going to be a lot of editing.
Wake up over there.
Yeah. Oh,
But
you
no,
guys.
call it
Driving
a
me
legacy,
nuts.
is it a legacy? No, we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Right on.
Boom.
Hey, Linda,
Agree
talk
with that.
about the scholarship a little bit.
Well, that's my thought on the actual legacy to answer your question directly.
Yeah.
When Mother died, we had a lot of money that people gave us at her funeral. And I mean, it was over $10,000. And we collectively said, what are we going to do with this? And I don't remember which one came up with, what about University of
Stuart.
Minnesota?
Was it Stuart?
Was
Yeah,
it Stuart?
Patty's
Yeah,
husband,
Patty's
Stuart
husband.
Pastor.
Anyway, brilliant. We all concurred that that was a great idea, and we've seen several of these young recipients. I think we've just changed it from the Jeannie Arland Scholarship, which was, of course, Mother's name, and
Right.
it was her scholarship, and now we've changed it to the Peterson family. So our legacy and will live on in those scholarships if
Sure.
if they can keep going, and it will live on in our kids. Billy's boys are very talented, and Paul's daughters are both talented, one of whom is working very hard in LA, living the dream. And
Yeah.
Patty's got a couple of boys who are wonderful musicians. And, we're going to just watch and wait and see what happens with these younger kids that we have. And we're already seeing it come through in our kids. And
And we have two granddaughters that are wonderful singers, and he has a grandson who's an incredible drummer.
Yeah.
So I mean, the legacy, the trickle down effect is continuing. So that's a legacy. in
More
and of
Petersons.
itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're alive to see this, and that's
Family
fun.
legacy, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Jason, final thoughts on that.
As far as a legacy, I would agree with a combination of what you guys said. I mean, Willard has a saying, let history decide. We just kind of use what God has given us,
Yeah.
put it in play to the best of our ability, hopefully spread some love through our gifts of music, and just do what we do. And that is the legacy.
Yeah. Let history decide.
I think that's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the dying truth.
And
Well,
pass
I mean-
on the music, pass on the jazz.
Yeah.
Pass on this great American art form. That certainly is
pass
something
on-
that Billy has done. Pass on that art form.
Well,
Pass on the elders, as Patty has done with her funded programs through KBEM, the jazz station, to show respect and admiration for our elders who are still living and working in the business into their 80s and 90s. And,
And one last thing is just using those blessings we've been given to bring people together.
oh, yes.
Like last night, we've been locked in the basement for 4 months.
Oh,
It felt
right.
so great to play
Yeah.
and have that interaction with a live audience and play live in real time with each other. It felt so good on a soul level of just doing what we're supposed to be doing. It was pretty
think
cool.
you-
That's what I said.
Is
Yeah.
Jeannie
And
Arland
making
your
people
grandmother?
happy.
Right. Right on.
That's a legacy. If I can leave
Yeah.
that, I'm
Absolutely
I'm-
right.
The
Yeah.
legacy is bringing the game every time we play.
Every
Yeah.
Bringing the game
It's
and,
like-
and making people happy.
Well, yeah, and then let
With our
history
gift.
decide.
Yeah.
Because so here's
It's all
me.
about the hang.
It's all
Yeah.
about the hang.
All the Billyisms.
Yeah.
74, like
Well,
the deal with
Sid
Dylan. I'm a
too. He
bebop
made some of those
bass player,
up,
man.
It's
And then
taught us a
then
lot.
Dylan's brother, I've been working for David Zimmerman. He calls me up and he says, show up in the studio. Here's letting history decide. So I would do demos and stuff, man. And so I show up in the studio and I back
This
out.
year, this is what year?
This is 74. So I walk in with my upright bass and my other, through, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm half sleeping, probably been up, I'm 23 years old. And so I walk in, but this is letting history decide. So I see there's Bob Dylan. He's like Elvis. I said,
Yeah.
I back out. I said, that's your really famous brother in there, man. What's going on?
Right.
He's sitting there, you know. And so he says, well, here's what's happening, man. He's got a record that he did, Blood on the Tracks, and he hates half the record. He likes half of it that's going to live, and he hates half. I'm thinking to myself, oh, man, I'm sure this is going to live. You know, so anyway, long story short, we cut all the tracks that were the hits off that record with Bill Berg and myself just on over Christmas and New Year's. And now the history has decided to put that in the Grammy Hall, all those songs we did, the Grammy Hall of Fame.
They recognize you, though. That's a hell of a
They
legacy.
finally did.
Yeah, I mean
That's the
I
legacy
thought
in
it would
itself.
never have live, but guess what?
Yeah.
It's the same story as just always coming to the party and bringing it again. Let
Right.
history decide what
That's
it's
true.
When you do the work, you put the good work in.
Yes.
Do what you're supposed to do.
And then you get thought of for the next time around too.
There's
when
a
you
saying,
bring it.
right? If you do good work, it gives you the opportunity to do more good work.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You've been very
There
fortunate.
you go.
Family,
You
this is
always say
legacy.
be in a state of preparedness so that
Right.
Yeah, I don't believe in that.
opportunity
It's not going to
comes
stop,
here.
brother.
oh,
We
no,
know
We're going to keep going.
but
We got storage for days. Come on.
I really like letting it flow
Of
the way
course,
it's
man.
supposed to flow because
Of
when are
course.
we ever going to have the opportunity to do
This is
something like
great.
this again?
Well, this
Maybe
is the
tomorrow.
To
legacy
get this-
right here.
I know. Let history decide.
That's
right. Family, thank you for taking the time
Right.
out of your day to come and do this
Welcome.
this
This was
podcast.
so
This is
fun.
history. This
Thank
is
you.
legacy.
This is the
Right
legacy.
here.
Right
You're making
here.
history.
Your
First
podcast.
family of music in Minnesota. Here we are.
Yeah, we are so lucky
you,
to be able to be
Paul.
together and hanging out. And there you go. That is episode 19. I don't have my notes in front of me. Episode 19 of Music on the Run. The most special interviews I have done to date. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Music on the Run was hosted by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Edited and produced by my buddy Davide Raso. Video editing by Ivan Sebastianov. And a very special thanks to the people who financially support this podcast. And remember, family is everything.